Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Love It or Shove It. It's our episode 97, believe it or not. And we just wanted to come today and have a great time. And before we dive into our topic, just let us introduce ourselves. My name is Irina Portnova. I'm a manifestation star. I'm all about let's manifest the best person you are and also attract the best partner that you are desiring. And I'm here today in the studio with my co-host Bruno Gil. Bruno, just introduce yourself and say what you are doing.
Yeah, so my name is Bruno. As obviously you all know, I'm a self-love coach. Yes, and that's basically it. I focus a little bit more on women, and I help them embrace a little bit of their imperfections, manage a little bit of their emotions, stay focused on mission, help them with their self-sabotage, with their perfectionism, with everything. Just try to help women basically become the most complete selves they possibly can without losing touch with their humanity.
Awesome. And today in the studio, we have drum roll. Tu-du-du-du-du-du-du-du. Today in the studio, we have Dina. Dina, it's such a pleasure always to have you with us and interact and have just this fun time together. Dina, just for anybody who might miss any of our episodes, just introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, everybody. It's Fun Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, my name is Dina Alexander. I am a personal coach, I am a relationship coach, and I am a sex coach. Why? Because it's needed. I do think the sex needs to be married with spirituality, and that's what I do. I think we are human and use sex to create what we want in our lives. That's the spiritual energy, it's the creative energy, that's the sexual energy. I do live in Aruba. We speak here 4 languages, and that's I do coach in those languages, all of them. So, and I love the topic today. So, thank you, Bruno.
Yes,
Yeah,
awesome. Yes, and the topic for today is sex by date three, rule or rubbish. And I know it's going to be a lot of fun just discussing about it, right? And just think about it. What everybody feels on the floor about it, and let's just have the fun discussion. And I trust somebody is going to be brave enough to join our conversation. Okay, Dina, you take the floor.
So, thank you. I love the topic. Haven't I say that already? I'm saying it again. So, let's start at the beginning. What is the sex by date rule? Day three rule. So you placed a three, but there
Mhm.
are sex by the 90 days rule. There are several. There are several rules, but let me um, try to explain it like this: sex by date rule. Okay. First, let's define it. The sex by date rule is the idea that there is a specific timeline, like in this case, the third date, and in some cases, the 90th days.
Mhm.
And it's all about when it is acceptable to have sex and that it's good for both. It's often seen as a way to balance excitement within emotional connection. But here's the thing, every relationship is unique, and so is every person. So let's explore the pros and the cons, because that's for me important. And at the end, I will give some tips if you have that, you are in such a situation.
nice.
So, what comes
You know what comes up? Yeah, thanks so much for starting out. What comes up is there is no right or wrong, and the rules is something that we are doing for ourselves. So, like we were talking in the past, it's all about having that agreement, first of all, the agreement with yourself, and then agreement with the person that you are going out and be just, like very straightforward about it, right? if you have some rules, then just state them, and there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing to be afraid of. And then again, it also depends on person to person, right? And like you said, Dina, sometimes it could be like the instant connection and the spark. And I feel like, people just completely drop that big three rule, right? Or sometimes when they feel like, okay, the energy is not still there, so it's kind of brewing in the process, so they can give themselves more time before they have sex. That's what comes to me. How about you, Bruno?
Um, yeah, honestly, I don't care. Um, you know, I mean, like first dates, I don't want to do that. Like, I think if I go on a date with a girl, if I go on a date with a girl, and I want to let on a first, she is like, oh, no, 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 no. I'm like, no, I'm like, that's not. That ain't a very good, a very good sign usually, in my with my experience. Um, if she wants to save herself, because I feel like a lot of women, they make the guy wait. I think that the longer they make the guy wait, I wouldn't say the better, because at some point there's a limit, but there should be a boundary between, like, yeah, sure, wait, but if you're really with me, like, for who I am, whether you get it or not, or let's just see, like, if you're going outside of, what is considered, normal, right? Let's say, to get it, right? And a woman can tell with her own intuition, right? Um, and when it comes for guys, I think for me it's like, you know, I'm gonna give the most like honest response that I could ever give. I really don't care. But first dates are no go to me. Usually on first dates, what I want to usually on first dates, what I really want to emphasize is have a conversation. Like, I don't even believe like going to the cinema on the first date is a good idea, right? Because like you can do that on the second date if you'd like, right? But on the first date, you should just sit like face to face to each other and understand like what you both want, right? There's no point in approaching it like you're friends with each other, because even if you are still supposed to be friends, even if you would end up on a relationship, you have to get straight to the point and be like, look, so look, this is what I want. I know we're just getting to know each other, right? But I want this, and I want this. Would you like this? Would you like that? You know, and it doesn't have to be like super upfront. You know, it can just be straight to the point. In the right timing. Um, but yeah, I think like when it comes to sex, for me, it's like I said the second date fine, by the third fine, but never on the first. On the first one is really whatever. I don't mind sex by day two or by day three. Why? Because that shows me that you know what you want. Like if you know what you want and you're certain about it, and like you don't need to test the guy more and more and more and more to get answers that you're not sure of and that you cannot see or tell by what he's saying with his voice, and you need to test. If by day two you're sure that I am what I am, and I say that I am what I am, and you're there, which means that you're still willing to give it a chance, right? Or to go on a second date just to see, right? That that shows some, that says something. I don't believe women that have their head in the right space do things for the sake of doing them, and think anybody wants to waste their time anyways, right?
Okay,
So yeah.
I'm going to share with the audience. I'll share after that I've shared the pros and the cons. I would like to share my personal views because I am single and how I think, and I would like to add on what Bruno just stated, that he really doesn't. It isn't important for him. The first day he will not go, but maybe the second date he will. Okay, so the sequence of what I'm going to tell you guys now is like that. Is it okay? Okay.
Yep.
Yes, totally.
So let's start with the pros. Emotional safety is very important for women. Okay, for
Mm-hmm.
men are wired such a way that emotionally they can be very non-emotional. Okay, for a woman it's difficult. So I would say for a woman it would be better for you to wait for your emotional safety. If you know yourself and you know that you are very emotional, wait a few days. Waiting a few days can help you feel more comfortable and build that trust that you need. Okay, waiting a few days, the pros it will give you clear intentions of what where this relationship, this friendship, because what I'm totally with Bruno, it's not a friendship, it's you are dating. So it will give you a clearer intention where it will go: a one night stand, a fuck buddy, or a relationship that can end up in marriage. Give yourself time. um it can help you gauge in if your partner is interested in more than just physical connection.
Mm.
So what I also tell the couples that have a long time relationship, um, maybe you should take a break, and because anticipation or delaying sex can build excitement. Or if you go for a trip
Yeah.
and your partner is back, it's a date because you won't have sex. It will build excitement and make the experience more meaningful. Also, when you are with strangers, okay. But here's the catch: what this rule that I'm talking about, it's not one size fits all.
Mm.
So it's all about experiencing and applying what you hear from us, and let us know because you can comment below. Okay. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
let's
Yep.
look at cons the cons of sex by date rule. The cons are just as important as the pros. Pressure for a woman, because the men won't have pressure, the women will have pressure. Strictly following a timeline can feel forced and take away from the natural flow of connection. Okay, and this in this case, if you if for example a woman say, hey, in 90 days I will not give you any sex, and the man is attracted to her, this can give him pressure. This can even make a good man go, because he will make his own judgment. I'm not talking if these are good or bad,
Mm.
okay? Because it can influence his judgment. And it can influence his judgment good also, okay? So that you are not an easy woman. But it can influence a good man in a bad way also. Missed opportunities. So if you are strictly to a timeline, you missed opportunities. If you are both ready and excited, why wait? Chemistry doesn't follow a schedule. Chemistry is chemistry. And it can happen the first date, Bruno. The first day it can.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Judgments. It can create unnecessary judgments, shame or guilt if you break the rule. That's why I don't believe in setting a rule. I believe um, there is a time you you need to state to the person in front of you, hey, I need to know more about you. And you can know more about a person in 3 days or in 90 days. It depends. Okay.
Mhm.
So for a man, the cons of giving yourself of having sex the first date it is one of my it's this week's tip of the week of mine. Because if you have sex the first date, or have sex a lot of sex with different kind of women, it doesn't matter for you because sex is sex, then you are leaking power. And I'm not um surprised if in your life nothing is balanced and you are without, you don't have your energy because you are leaking your power. You're giving your power away to every woman in front of you. So that's why I do. If you cannot control yourself, or if you cannot say no, use the sex by date rule. Then this can help you. Yeah.
Mm, true.
You know what? Yeah, can I add? So what
Yes.
comes for me when you were sharing about, like if the woman says to a man, wait 90 days, he might disappear, then he is not for her. I'm like certainly like, so confident in my energy that, like if this is something I want to play by, if this is my rule, and if the person doesn't agree, so be it, right? So the idea is we do not want to feel pressured. We do not want to feel like, like we owe something to somebody. And I think when people go on the dates, that's exactly what it is. They go there for fun, they go there for joy, they go to get to know themselves. Right. And again, it's all about intentionality. What is your intention? Because again, not everybody is looking for the serious relationship. Somebody just looking to have fun, and it's totally fine. But be clear what exactly you want, right? What is the outcome that you desire? Because a lot of times people are too confused when they do not really know what they want. They kind of, okay, I want that person, I want to meet somebody who I'm serious with, but at the same time, like I might just have the sex because let's say I was without the partner for a long time, and it's about the time to like satisfy my physical right needs. But the idea is when we are becoming crystal clear what exactly do we want from these dates, that becomes even more of like this is how I want to have this going, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Yes. Bruno, something came up during this
Yeah.
sharing? Yes.
I mean, a lot of things really. I don't know. I feel that, especially like I'm gonna touch on what Irina said, right? So Irina said that if you're not able to wait, or at least meet my requirements, I'm never gonna be upset, right? And I'm like, of course, like if you can't meet what I initially told you that it was going to be like, at least from my side, right? Then I'm sorry, but you have a you problem. You have a you problem completely because you may be used to something that you're probably not ready to deal with, right? Because I at least am not that same thing or person that you're used to deal with anyways, because I'm me and everybody else is the way that they are. And if you are used to having people who will just let you do whatever you want to do because they're like, it's fine, it's fine, or whatever. Well, I'm not that. I honestly, I am not like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not, because for example, like in the beginning, I was saying that I don't see a woman wasting time with a guy she doesn't want to be with on a second date at least, or to get to know better, either because the guy is too less or the guy is too much, right? Um, Now, for instance, I don't see myself as a man wasting my time as well with another woman. But because I know what I want, I'm clear on what I want. You know, um, I go into the second date being like, okay, I got to know you. I want to see what's next. You know, let's go to a different place. And see, right? But ultimately, a thing that because I move fast. Honestly, I move fast. I move fast in everything I do. I move fast in business. I move fast in relationships. I move fast in whatever, in friendships. I get my things done. I reply fast. I talk fast. I think fast. I feel fast. I don't really waste time a lot like overthinking, or debating about this or about that, because the world for me is very black and white. It's either this or that. It's yes or no. you know, right? And that's my philosophy for life, right? So when you apply these to relationships, When I approach a second date, I approach a second date already knowing what can happen, you know? And when I mean what can happen, meaning like, okay, if this is gonna happen, so be it, you know? But I'm never gonna have sex with a woman that, I don't know. Because if I wanna do that, I don't have to take you to dinner. I go to a party and I take you home. And so, you know, so
Maybe and I do agree with you. Okay, you have your rules, you know who you are. It's good, but there are some people outside there that they do
Totally.
that chemistry. And as a coach, and you want to continue, you want to pursue that chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
that feeling, I do recommend this: be safe. If you want to
That
have
most important
intercourse,
thing. Mm-hmm.
have a condom. have
yeah.
your have your be safe and explore. But if you, in your deep of your heart, you feel like you don't want, even though you feel that chemistry, but you don't want to because you will afterwards, you will feel guilty, don't do it, even though
Mm,
you have a condom. So you need
mm.
to know yourself, like Bruno.
I'll
Okay?
just tell you what, I hate condoms.
Yeah, every
For
man.
me, I
But
prefer,
women love
yeah,
condoms.
exactly. Of course,
So
of course.
if I may continue, because I wanted to give some tips.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I chose to give tips because there are different kind of relationships. Okay, because some want casual dating, some want a new relationship,
Mm,
some want a long-term partnership. It depends what you're looking for.
mm,
So um, if you are into casual dating, if you're exploring something casual, communication is the key. Be
mm.
clear about the intentions and make sure you're both on the same page. I'm totally with Bruno. That's what he explained. Okay. But this is in casual dating. So if you want, if you are pursuing a new relationship, focus on building emotional connection first, Bruno. Then you are not black and white. There are
Sure.
grayish sections.
Mm.
There is no
No,
rush.
you know, um, so of course the emotional connection is important, obviously, right? But the first date for me, when I get to know you, shows me, okay, I'm able to build an emotional connection with this person. By day two, I'm gonna see. Like I want to see, what is the emotional connection here? Because there are different types of emotional connection, right?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and usually, to me, the best way that I know the emotional connection that we can both have is what, at the end of the day, will always tie us together. For example, me and Irina, right? The emotional connection that we have, a big part of it is the talk show itself. Because every single time when we used to have an argument, we would have to fix it before the talk show. Because if we were doing a talk show and we were mad at each other, things wouldn't go right, right?
Can you imagine?
Simple. And so when there's problems going on the talk show and one of us is lacking, right? At least I feel pretty lonely, and all the attraction and the love that I feel, for the person just goes away. But then when we fix things on the talk show, because that's something that ties us emotionally a lot, right? Makes me go back to like normal, simple. But yeah, the thing that ties you emotionally is super super important. I, at least by day two, if I can get to know that, right, and then like there's some exciting things happening at the end, then fine, sure. But if it doesn't, it's fine. I don't care really. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You should never force anything anyways, because that never works, honestly. So
Yes. Yes. Irina, you're quiet, you're silent. I
I'm
want to
not
hear you.
quiet. I'm just paying attention. And you know what? What comes to me, like it's great for anybody who is watching us. It's great to hear our opinion, but our opinions are very subjective. So
sure.
I do not want anybody who is watching and hearing and thinking that, oh my God, I'm like a different person. Oh my God, to feel like,
Oh yeah.
they are guilty or they feel the shame. I totally agree with Dina. Sometimes there is a time when you can actually have the intimacy the first time, and it all depends on circumstances and what's happening in life. Oh, look who is here.
Giovanni.
Giovanni!
Ooh, this is a
Finally, look at this
spicy,
text.
delicious.
He put so much.
You want to read it? You want me to read it?
Yeah, you read it.
Oof. That is a Dutch oof. This is such a delicious topic, and every man learns the art of seductions, and speed seduction in his own way and time. I've been fortunate to have a handsome scoundrel, experienced man that could give me great tips in my teens. Wow, you're blessed.
Mhm.
Besides also having gone to a speed seduction workshop by Joss Jeffries himself. Wow, that's a good one. Having worked as a tour guide for 20 years on the island, wow, it was always a challenge to see if I could meet a guest, create a connection, and get something as quick as possible. And I love that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thanks so much, Giovanni. It's awesome to have you with us, and thanks for sharing. Yes. So the point is that there is no right or wrong. Again, the recipe, we are all making up our own recipes, and we are cooking with that recipe. And again, our beliefs are changing. It's one thing to say here, oh, no, 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 I would never do it. And when you are presented with the situation, things can shift, things can change. And I'm totally here just to for everybody to feel comfortable where they stand with that, because it's just a discussion. It's not like a mathematical formula that it's either this way or highway, right? So
Mhm.
it's just we are kind of sharing our opinion, and we are staying very open about the topic. And I think it's good to talk about it, because honestly not so many people talk about it, and that's why we are coming with all these provocative topics, because we just wanted to express what our opinion is. But again, just tune in to yourself and what feels right for you, because whatever feels right for you, it is right for you.
Yes, perfect. I couldn't have said it better. So I
Mm-hmm.
already spoke about the tips in casual dating and new relationships. So I will finish. I have two more: a long-term partnership and a soulmate and deep connection. So a long-term partnership, what is the intention? The intention is to reignite the spark by creating intentional moments of intimacy. Remember, if you are looking for such a partnership, sex is a journey, it's not a destination.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you are looking for a soulmate or deep connections, you need to explore sacred sexuality. And that's what I teach. And conscious intimacy. Let your connection be a reflection of your love and trust. That's what you're looking for. Okay? So that's my
Mm-hmm.
tip for today.
Yes, I love it. And just to conclude that, when we know ourselves, right? That's why we keep saying about how crucial it is to explore ourselves, our body, know exactly what we like, and how we like it. When we know ourselves well, it's easy to connect with somebody else, and then make the decisions on the spot where you want to take that date into. And just wanted to wish everybody who is watching great day. Please comment. Giovanni is super excited that you joined us. We missed seeing you on our episodes. And for everybody else, we would love to know where you stand with that. What is your rule? And again, we all have it differently, and there is no right or wrong. Just tune into your heart and decide what works for you. And if something goes wrong, hey, it's just the lesson, because we are here, we all humans, and we are here. It's okay to make mistakes, right? And it's all about just learning experience, because we grow with every lessons that we are taking. All right, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bruno, you want to add quickly something before we finish?
Yeah. I love what you said. Like you said, like no need for anybody to feel guilty or ashamed of, oh, I mean, a lot of people they're like this, and I'm just like, you are the way that you are. It doesn't matter. Never lower your standards for anybody. Um, it's not even about soulmates or anything like that. Like screw that Disney stuff. Like just literally think about what's good for you and what's not. Would this person benefit me? Would I benefit this person? Does this person agree with what I want? Do I agree with this person? Do I agree with what this person wants? And most importantly, am I choosing with my heart instead of choosing with my head? Right? So yeah, think about those things. Don't pop your brain off. Don't explode your brain thinking about those things. Again, there's no need to overthink and be overwhelmed. Most importantly, also follow your intuition. So yeah, just yeah.
All right. Thank you so, so much. And Dina, thanks so much. As always, happy to have you with us. And, suggest any topics if anybody is, looking to hear something that we are talking about. Just let us know. And Giovanni, thanks so much again and all the best. And see you, everybody, on the next episode.